Hello and welcome to the Boston Network Users Group. It's great to see people. Very glad people are here. Just a quick go around, just have everyone introduce themselves. Mark, could you begin?
I'm a previously muted retired software engineer.
The only kind we can really tolerate in this group. Thank you. Drew?
Drew King coming to you from Florida. Been a member of BNUG since I don't know, the 80s. Do my own consulting business with computers and software, and that's it.
Thank you. Eric?
Hello, I'm from Brooklyn, currently working for Atom right now. I am a computer engineering student.
Welcome. Sharif?
Yes, Sharif Sheikh from Concord, Massachusetts. Originally from Pakistan. I've been here 51 years, and I'm currently retired for the last eight years now, almost, and associated with the BNUG since then. And enjoy working with the senior group and YouTube groups also. That's my passion.
Thank you. Tudor?
I'm also one of Adam's interns. I'm from Queens. I'm going to be a computer science student in about a month.
Thank you. Kathleen, Suki? Kathleen, Suki, are you there? We lost her for a minute. Suki, when you're ready. Zara?
Hi, I'm currently an intern as well, and I'm a student studying computer information systems.
Thank you. Ted?
Unmuted. Hi, I'm Ted. I actually started out as an electrical engineer, but wound up doing computers for a very long time and semi-retired these days.
Thank you. Brandon? Brandon Keys?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can.
Yeah, I'm Brandon. I'm another one of Adam's interns for Computer Care and Learning. I'm looking to major in computer science.
Thank you. I encourage people, especially my students, to turn on their cameras. This is a networking event. People want to see your face. David?
Hey, hi guys, I'm David. I'm also one of Adam's interns. I live in Staten Island, and I'm currently studying cybersecurity in college.
Cybersecurity, David?
Yes.
Thank you. Suki, are you back? Kathleen, are you there? Okay. Obaid?
Hello, Mr. Adam, and hello, everyone.
Hello.
I just came here. I don't know. I'm a college student for now. Time I stopped. This was my second year or like junior year at Bunker Hill. Studying just liberal art about the computer voice. Since 2020 or 2021, I know Mr. Adams. Since then, I joined his web for business classes, general meetings, and we have a board meeting. So all we talk about the computer technology. So I learned from Mr. Adam a lot. Also, on my workplace, we also like check out transactions. Like we use the computers, and so I know the basics. So I want to learn more, go like advanced. But whatever I have learned, I really appreciate Mr. Adam and everyone else where I want some little bit some other places also.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stan?
Hi, good evening. Yeah, I'm
I'm not a computer person except personally at home. Run a small home network. I used to write affirmative action programs for federal contractors, something that doesn't seem to be in too much demand these days. Um, so I have an interest in things technical.
I demand affirmative action. I think it's a great thing. One of the things we try to do in our internship is to make sure that women get plenty of voice, because in the computer business, very slanted towards males.
To say the least.
When I was a computer science major, there were 22 of us who made the cut, and 2 of them were women. Very smart, talented women, but there are only 2 of them. A difficult dating ratio, I might add. Kenneth, could you introduce yourself? And if you tilt your camera down a bit so we can see you.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, my name is Kenneth. I'm also one of Adam's interns this summer. I'm from Queens, and I'm going to be studying engineering in about a month, a little less than a month.
Thank you. So I'm glad, Ted, that you're here, because I'm going to open by talking about electronics, which is not my field, but I'm struggling to make sense of it, and maybe you can help me make more sense of it. So I'm going to share my screen here. So this is become a regular practice when we meet, when BNUG meets, is to open to answer the question, well, how do computers really work anyway? Which is, even people who are very seasoned computer people often don't know the answer to that question. And so what I'm going to do, if you'll bear with me, something weird's going on here.
Usual question.
Sure. Hold on just a second. So this book that we've been studying together, we also have a physics class where we've been spending some time with it as well, is by Albert Malvino. It's available on the Internet Archive for people who want to download a copy. And we're going to go find it. Not on the Internet Archive, but here's our BNUG folder. And here is this book. So I have a question for you, because we've talked about this in our internship group and also in other contexts. I'm opening up this PDF. I own a copy of a hardcover copy of this book, and I also downloaded the PDF from the Internet Archive. We're going to talk about a few pages in this book together. Is that a copyright violation?
No.
Did someone just say no?
Yes, I said no. I think it's an educational, education and what is part of the fair use, I think.
That's right. Could you say a word about fair use?
Not too much. This is one of those things where a gigantic law firm with high-powered lawyers comes and lands on you like a ton of bricks.
I hope that doesn't happen to me.
To mention something without getting that's copyrighted, without getting permission, regardless of whether or not it's for educational purposes or for discussion purposes. At least those are a couple of the things that I think I know about.
Yes, I think that's right. The copyright rule basically says that if you're sharing something from a book, and it's a modest amount, and what modest is a matter of opinion. But if you're sharing something from a book, and you are you're not stealing, So stealing would be taking this book and sending a copy to every member of BNUG and saying, please read this. But sharing a few pages is protected by the fair use doctrine. So I feel comfortable, and we're recording this, so I'm committing myself here. So this book has a whole set of discussions about electronics, the initial discussions about electronics, and I want to go to these. I also want to note this book was written in 1977. And yet a lot of the issues that it deals with are continue to be true to this day. And so, Kenneth, could you read this quotation from Herman Melville for us?
Yeah. A man of true science uses but few hard words, and those only when none other will answer his purpose, whereas the smatter in science thinks that by mouthing hard words he understands hard things.
I really like this quotation, and I think it's a very helpful guide to all of us as we go out into the world dealing with computer issues, that we want to make sure we really understand what we're talking about and keep really focused and not be talking about stuff that we don't really understand. So he opens by explaining why about binary and binary code and how it works. Talks a bit about hexadecimal code. But this question, I think, is just important to note for a moment. There was a decision that people made when the computer was developed. The computer was mainly developed in the United States, mainly in one place by a couple of people. And they made a decision to use binary numbers in the computer rather than analog numbers, meaning like 1 through 10. Does anyone know why, what was at the heart of that decision? So the decision was,
could it have had something to do with the fact that you only had a register that could hold an on or an off?
Well, yes, but why not create a register that can have 10 different voltages?
Technology hadn't advanced.
Yes, I think it was humility, an act of humility. They said, look, we just can't make something to work that would accurately register 10 different voltages and do it precisely. Certainly at the beginning of the computer age, the technology for doing that was not there. I'm told that some of the quantum computing that's going on now is able to make these kinds of distinctions, but that's for another story. So I want us to look at this carefully. Part of, in the spirit of Herman Melville, I'd rather that we know a few things really well than cover a lot of ground and not know it well. This picture says something really important about the modern era. I would like everyone just to look at it for a moment and see if you can make sense of it.
Well, in the simple sense, it looks like a pack of watch batteries, 2 of which have been used.
Tudor, do you want to make a go at explaining this drawing?
So, my electrical diagram knowledge is not very great, but just judging by the paragraphs at the top,
yeah,
I think this is like 4 transistors connected in series with some resistors in between them, but I don't know what they're doing.
So this is a register. And I want you just to imagine for a moment that we've invented a gadget that allows us to say, put 0 in this, in number 1, put 1 in position 2, put 0 in position 3, and 0 in position 4. The way we measure what's in it is this wire here. So you can see this wire is coming in at 5 volts. If we put a micrometer, a multimeter here, we get 5 volts here, 5 volts here. Here we're getting 0 volts, and here we're getting 0 volts. This is actually the heart of a computer, because if we can do this, that means we can store a number. We know a little bit about binary now, and we know that we could, if we pick the right voltages, we can represent 1, 1, 0, 0 with the setup that we have here. And if we change the voltages, we could change that number to a different number. So suddenly we have a gadget that can store numbers. And I just want to talk about how it does it. It's actually really clever. So let me just say a word about the transistor. It's a very recent invention. So my best friend growing up, Martin, his father, Irving, went to Worcester Polytech. Irving was born, I think, in around 1925 or something. And he went to Worcester Polytech in his 20s, I think. And he liked to grin and say, when I went to Worcester Polytech, the transistor had not been invented. It is truly a recent invention, So what is it? It's a gadget that has 3 wires going into it. And I'm just going to say a word about each wire. There are 2 kinds of transistors. We're not going to get into that. This wire is called the collector. This wire is called the emitter.
Adam,
Yes.
Are you pointing?
I don't mean to interrupt, but your cursor is visible.
Yeah, not working.
You can't see my cursor?
No, we
Yeah, we
can't.
cannot.
When you say that you're pointing at something, we don't see anything that you're pointing at, so we don't know what you're pointing at.
Yeah.
See if this Zoom can help me with that. Does anyone know what to do to get? I mean, I have a pen here. I have a highlight, like a spotlight. Can you see this?
Yeah, there. Now we see that.
Oh,
Okay, this is
I
the Zoom.
I can see a floating red tip.
Yeah, dot.
Dun, 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 dun. Yes. Okay.
Does everyone else see that?
Everyone see this now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. Now we have a way of pointing to something. This is like the laser beam. So, okay. And whoever, was that Eric who said that?
Yes.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, you don't need to apologize when you say something like that. I really appreciate you pointing it out. Thank you. Okay, so now let's look carefully at this. This wire here that's going into the transistor, let's just start here. It's a wire going into the transistor. Transistors have 3 wires. This wire for this kind of transistor is called the collector. And this wire here is the emitter. And here's the miracle of the transistor. If the transistor is just sitting there and has no energy going into it, meaning if there's this third part of the transistor called the base. If you have no electricity going to the base, this gadget is called cutoff. So let's look at this one here. We've got 0 voltage going to the base. The base acts like a switch. If you put electricity into it, it allows electricity to go from the collector to the emitter. But if you don't put any electricity, which is the case here, the transistor acts like a rock. Nothing goes through at all. So let's look what happens if that's the case. There's no electricity going here, which means that electricity that's coming from here, here's 5 volts. Here comes the 5 volts. Gets here. And now it comes down here and it wants to go to the ground through the transistor, but it can't. The transistor is cut off. It can't go anywhere here. It's locked. It's a rock. So it has nothing better to do than to go over here. And it does. The 5 volts goes out the door here. So by having a cutoff transistor, this 5 volts manifests itself right here, which we're using as an indicator that it's a 1. Now let's look at a transistor where we are sending voltage to the base, like so. See the 5 volts going to the base? That energizes the base. And the miracle of the transistor is that when you put a little bit of energy into the base, a whole lot of energy is allowed to come down through the transistor. So by energizing the base, the electricity that's coming from here is allowed to go through here and out the ground and has no interest in coming out here. There's no incentive. The ground is much more attractive. So what we have is a gadget where if we put voltage on the base, it turns off this light. If we don't have any voltage on the base, it turns on this light. So the voltages put in here are a way of controlling the output voltages. They're opposites. So if I put no voltage here, I get a voltage, I get 5 volts here. If I put 5 volts here, I get no voltage here. So this is a register that when you put numbers on these 4 positions, you're going to get the opposite numbers coming out. And if you leave things be, this register is going to remember what its situation. Its state's not going to change. As long as you don't put voltage on these 2, these lights will turn on and these will be off. And so it's essentially acts like memory. Because as long as you're providing electricity, remember in computers, when you turn off the computer, the RAM stops working. That's because this process no longer can work if you don't have juice going into it. It forgets everything.
What?
Ted, do you want to add anything to this?
No, I think you've covered it admirably.
Thank you. This will make, I think for our purposes, this is all that transistors do. And it's very, very simple. Transistors are capable of very fancy stuff. You can put different voltages and get different flow. You can have a lot of control over the kind of electricity that goes through. In our physics soiree that we do on Friday evenings, we played with the amount of transistor voltage. And we're able to change the amount of current going through here in very subtle ways. It's very exciting, but not a computer. Computers, I want everyone to bear in mind, computers are dumb bunny. They are not interested in subtle issues at all. And that's actually what's turned out to be an enormously successful strategy. Computers don't depend on the temperature outside. 5 computers have run in this room in 90-degree weather. They're fine. They don't depend on extremely high quality electrical supply. They're very sturdy and rugged. And at the heart of this ruggedness, in my opinion, is the simplicity of the design that does not depend on any subtlety, on or off. All right, before we wrap up our digital electronics visit, there's lots more to say here. And I encourage people to read this book and books like it, because it's really helped me get a better feel for what on earth is going on here. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to skip ahead and go back to the simplest possible computer. Let's go down to it. So this was a student computer that Malvino invented. It's on paper. I don't think it's ever, I think people have built them because it's a very popular book. And so I'm sure that somebody said, oh, let's build this. But we're going to look at it on paper. There's a lot of stuff in here about registers, and he has problems that he gives. He gives examples of logic gates, which I look forward to exploring in detail. It's really exciting, but let's keep going. What I think is so exciting about this book is that once you start getting a hang of it, you really do understand how a computer works. Even though the computers now have become incredibly complicated, the core of them is not complicated. The core of it is actually something very simple that we're about to jump into. So here goes. Just get through all the logic gates. It's important not to get intimidated by all this stuff. It's actually, most of it's just common sense and quite enjoyable. So we're getting a little bit further here. Oh, please. think I'm getting to it. He has lots of good exercises. Almost there.
Let's see.
Let's go a little faster. He's explaining how all the different parts work, and then he shows how they fit together. And we're going to go to how they fit together.
Adam, does he talk about the relationship between transistors and vacuum tubes?
Not in detail. I think it's funny you mentioned that because the vacuum tube, the first vacuum tube, commercial vacuum tube in America was shipped in 1922, not long before the transistor took over. Do you know how a vacuum tube works?
Pretty much the same. Same as
Kind of the same thing, right? It's where
you have a collector and emitter and something in between.
Yeah, but it's heavy, incredibly energy consumptive, broke down really easily. I heard that in the first computer they had a kid on a little go-kart who went around the machine to replace the vacuum tube before they failed.
Yeah, it could be. It wouldn't surprise me a bit.
Yeah. And the shift to transistors is what made it much more reasonable to have computers work, because vacuum tubes were just they were so heavy. I remember my dad had a calculator that he brought home from work that did addition, multiplication, subtraction, and division, and had a memory for one number. And it weighed probably 90 pounds. It's like this huge thing. And when you looked inside it, you could see the vacuum tubes glowing, which was pretty neat.
And transistors came out of Bell Labs?
Ted, do you know?
Yes, in 1947.
Yep.
Okay. So Bell Labs was a sort of what? Freelance outfit?
It was called the Idea Factory.
Funded by the phone company.
By the phone monopoly, which had lots and lots of funding. But they also had some very practical problems, like the whole question of how to make all the wiring work throughout the country and stuff. They really needed scientists to be exploring this. But here we are. But the people who did it had the vision to understand that you can't just say, scientists, come up with an innovative solution. That's now become sort of a very popular trope, I've noticed, that companies say, oh, we've got all these great scientists, they're going to innovate. And what they're going to create for you will make you money really quickly. And Bell Labs understood this was ridiculous.
Yeah.
You had to let basic research happen, and you had to pay for it. And you didn't get a return immediately, which I thought was quite wise.
Yeah, right.
Here we are. So we're going to just do a brief tour before we move on to the rest of the meeting. So we've done this before. It really bears repeating. This is the simplest possible computer. And what I want to describe is it's kind of a miracle how it works. It's so simple and so clever. And it's apparently just, this is the way computers work. Let's go to the core of this, which is this number. This is called the control word. And let me explain what it does. You see that it's got letters, and some of the letters have bars over them. That's just a technicality. The bar means that the wire has to be negative for it to be active. It's just a kind of like a trick. Let's talk about what it means for a wire to be active. And let's look at this picture. This is a bunch of boxes that needs to communicate with each other in a very graceful way so that you don't have signals going to the wrong place at the wrong time. It's the control word that does that. So in this system, there's only one road called the W bus. And you're not allowed to put two different numbers on the bus at the same time. So there has to be a discipline. And the discipline is provided by the control word. And the way it provides that discipline is by sending wires to each of these devices. And we can look at which wire goes to which. Here's CP. Let's go down and look at the control word. See CP down here in the control word? Here's just a word about the clock. The clock is continuous and is used to create time coordination. I can say more about that. But I really want to focus on the control word here. CP and EP go to the program counter. Not LM goes to input and memory address register. And it may not be clear what these are, but that's okay. CE goes to RAM. Not CE goes to RAM. Not L and not E1 goes to the instruction register. Okay, what does this all mean? It means that if you send out the right control word, you'll get the right behavior. So a control word that turns on the CP takes the program counter and puts it on the bus. So you want to send out a control word with everything else turned off. So everything else is turned off and the program counter goes onto the bus. Actually, one more thing is turned on. You turn on the CP and you turn off the LM. And what that does is it says, okay, program counter, you're allowed to put to the bus. See the arrow here? A 4-bit word, tiny little word onto the bus. And the memory address register is allowed to take from the bus. But nobody else is allowed to do anything. I'll show you a graphic of this that he gives us. Just a second. The ring counter. Here we go. Here's a picture of what really happens when the computer's running. The control word says, turn on the PC, just like I said, and also retrieve into the memory address register. All this means is that whatever's in the program counter will get stored in the memory address register. That's what this step does. Then we'll have that whatever that program counter number is safely in the memory address register. And we better, because something's about to happen that's going to make the PC, the program counter, no longer reliable for us. The next control word is going to turn everything off except it's going to do CP, which increments the program counter. This is actually incrementing it for the next round, but we're done with the program counter now. There's more to it later when we get to loops and stuff, but just for now, just think of it as the program counter does its job, sort of like the Black Widow spider. It does its job, and then we increment it, and it's out of the picture. We don't have to worry about it. The next word, the control word, says, take what's in the memory address register. Remember, we got that from the program counter, and use it to get what's in RAM. Take what's in RAM and put it in the instruction register. So remember, this is a programmable computer. What's in RAM, and this computer is programmed before you start running the main program. You go into RAM and you set up all the instructions in it and the data. The memory address register points somewhere in RAM. Because it's a program counter, it's probably going to be the next location. And then whatever is in that location gets put on the bus and put in the instruction register. So can you imagine this? You've got this stack of instructions, starting with the first instruction, then the second, then the third. The program counter is going to point to the first one, and it's going to put that pointer in the memory address register, which points to RAM and gets the instruction, whatever it is. But here's the moment when this becomes a programmable computer and not just a heap of metal. What's put in that first location, what's put in the first memory location in RAM is an instruction that we chose before we started this computer running. We could choose a different instruction. Then this is what makes computers so versatile. They don't just do what they're wired to do. You go in and put in the instruction that you want. Then that goes into the instruction register and the instructions carried out. So I'll leave that for people to ponder and we'll carry on. So let's go to our website, which we are, our Web for Business class has been talking about improving the BNUG website. So I look forward to that continuing. This is the Oxford Union, young people debating, strongly recommended, very interesting. We're going to go to the BNUG website here. This will be an aid to memory of what we talked about when we planned this meeting. So this is us. Okay, we just did this. Okay. So what we wanted to talk about is taking good care of your mail and taking good care of your photos. So what does this mean? What does taking good care of your mail mean? Someone want to venture on that one?
Well, I take care of it with Mail Store Home. I back up my mail just like I back up my data. I treat my email just as important as I treat my data.
Would you repeat that? Because I think it's such a great thing to say.
As far as I'm concerned, I run a business and I have a personal life, both of which to me are important. I treat my mail, my inbox, the communication that I have with family, friends, business people, coworkers, everybody. It's all my billing is done electronically, home finances, everything are all done electronically through email. It's too important to not back it up.
What are you protecting yourself against, Drew, when you back it up? What disaster are you
Uh, well, one could be an accident could happen at the hosted company, or an accident could happen. I could accidentally delete my mail, or if I'm using a free account like a Gmail account or an Outlook account, I can, for any number of reasons, get locked out of that account.
Yes.
It could get hacked, it could get infected, it could get taken over by somebody. Uh, Google could say, hey, Drew, you violated our terms of service. You're out.
Yes.
And that's it.
And
You're
just
done.
not give you access to the mail and say that's your problem. It was free, Drew. What did you expect?
So the same thing could happen for the mail I have at GoDaddy or the mail that you have at work. One day you have a job, the next day you don't have a job. What do you do with your mail?
So, which raises an interesting question: is if you're using your mail at work, who owns it, and do you have a right to make a copy of it and have access to it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's complicated. I think it's a complicated question. So this question of taking good care of your mail, I think you've given us a really good introduction to this. That most people, I think it would be fair to say, do not take particular care of their mail. Most people, I think we can get the number. Sorry.
Lost you.
Thinking 1.8 billion.
Yeah. So you've got these a substantial number of people. What is it? Does anyone know the population of the Earth right now?
8 billion?
Something like that, right? So this is a very substantial portion of people in the world use Gmail. How many people do you think back up this Gmail?
At least one.
Yeah, Drew.
I don't.
Most people don't. Most people don't. Most people are trusting Google to handle this well. Are they worthy of that trust? Do we have any? Does Google lose the mail ever?
There's also one more reason, which is for practicality, is you have a limited amount of storage space for your mail. And if you send and receive a lot of file attachments, you could use that mail space up relatively quickly. Mail Store Home is a way of offloading some of that mail to your local computer so that it's not consuming so much space on the server.
Uh-huh. Just curious, I don't know the answer. Does anyone know the answer to this question I'm asking?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they've
Notice
lost
that
it.
Google does not answer the question directly.
Um, I don't know how much they lose versus how much they just turn off. Um,
I'm just curious.
Um,
Well, also, if your free Gmail account has no activity for about 2 years, they may send a notice to that account, but they'll close it, which is a relatively recent new policy.
Yeah. There are lots of issues here. I'm just very curious about this. This is a company that's handling 1.8 billion accounts. I can't believe they don't screw up sometimes. Everybody screws up sometimes. There's been an outage, but the outage isn't. Here's someone on Reddit asking this question. And this guy is this guy's actually thinking about this. He's saying, what would happen if I lost my data? He says Google has redundant servers. The likelihood of that being unrecoverable, aside from a planet-wide natural disaster where you and I will probably be dead, is highly unlikely.
Well, the ironic thing here is most people I see use the gmail.com website.
Yeah.
But a small number I see use a regular email client on their computer, Outlook or Apple Mail or Windows Mail. So in the moment, as far as I can tell, that means that every message it sees is also on your hard drive. Now, if something happens in the online account and messages get deleted, the next time your email client software on your computer synchronizes with the server, those messages disappear from that software as well, except for whatever backup you've made of your computer. So even for users who use a regular email client, stuff may disappear and they may not notice, or they may not realize that they could get it back using their own backup. If they haven't, dragged it into a local folder themselves. So most of the time when I'm talking to somebody about, their Gmail, what they mean is the webmail. And I even have clients who use both. They look at the webmail and they look in their, let's say, Outlook. And they only vaguely understand that it's the same underlying account. Because the interfaces, are equivalent, but they're not identical. So it's a very tricky thing for people to understand.
So let's launch into the remedies for this. I'm going to stop the share here. So I think that Drew wanted to demonstrate Mailstore. I'm just going to see if this is one of our people. Hold on a second. Hello. So Drew, you're going to demonstrate Mailstore for us? What is Zoom it, Drew? Drew, are you there? Can anyone else hear Drew?
Not yet.
Yeah, he's muted, I guess, Mr. Adam.
Hey, Drew, you're muted.
He's muted, yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can.
Yes.
Yeah. What
Okay.
what is Zoom it, Drew?
Let me get back there. Zoom It is a free program from sysinternals from Microsoft that allows you to temporarily zoom your screen in and zoom it back out again, so that I use it during Zoom presentations so that if I'm presenting something that has very small text, that people can read it temporarily.
Neat.
Uh,
It's Mark Rusinovich wrote it.
yes.
He's a very good program, folks.
Because this solution is Windows only, my recommendation as a backup alternative solution that works on Mac, Linux, and Windows is a program called Thunderbird, which by default makes a copy of all of your mail on the server down to the local computer. But as it was already mentioned, if you connect up to the server and a bunch of your messages have been removed from the server for any reason, they'll get removed from Thunderbird as well. So Thunderbird, much like a web browser, has extensions that you can load. One of them is called Import Export Tools. And with Import Export Tools, you can set up a regular backup schedule so that if you have, let's say, an external solid state drive, you can set up a folder on that drive, and on a schedule of your choosing, it'll back up your Thunderbird mail to that external drive so that you have an ability to recover from a loss of your Thunderbird mail. And it works on all different platforms. So it's basically what I call an IMAP bridge, or what's referred to as an IMAP bridge. It allows you to connect up to Gmail and Outlook and Yahoo, and you basically add your email client to Thunderbird via IMAP, create a new folder, and restored mail, and then you can drag your email files that you've backed up to your computer into that Thunderbird folder, and then Thunderbird will automatically sync it, upload it, those messages to the cloud.
But wait, I want to go back a step, because where do those EML files come from?
Import Export Tools.
So I'm not following the whole story. So I'm a Gmail user. Tell me what I need to do.
Well, what you do is you don't have to become a or an ordained Thunderbird user. Here in this particular case, I'm demonstrating it merely as a way to back up your mail. So you don't have to use Thunderbird for your mail if you like to use webmail. You
Okay,
basically
that's the case. So I like using Gmail webmail, say. So what do I do? What are my steps?
So you download and install Thunderbird, and when you run it for the very first time,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Could you show because a lot of people here haven't used Thunderbird. Could you just quickly show us the Thunderbird program that we download? And
Sure.
Where do you download it from when you download it?
Mozilla. You just search for Thunderbird, and you'll find it.
It's also available on Ninite for Windows users. And is Thunderbird available cross-platform?
Yeah, it's already included with most Linux distributions. If you download Ubuntu Linux or Linux Mint or most flavors of Linux come with Thunderbird already preloaded. Okay. This is my email, and this is an email reminder.
So folks, for people who've not used this before, this is a mail client, which means it's a front end to your mail. The mail is up on Google, but this downloads the mail in various ways, and Drew will help us understand that. And you can use all these tools that the client provides that may not be provided on the webmail.
Correct. Like, for example, here's the import-export plugin that I mentioned a little earlier. And you can export your profile, and you can say that you want to back up the full profile or the mail only. and then you can also import a profile. This is where you set up your backups. And I haven't done that yet, so it's asking me where I want to back it up to.
But I'm still not, hold on. So this is Thunderbird. So you were going to show us Thunderbird. You're showing us the
Yep.
import export.
Yep.
But are you saying that this Thunderbird that you have is connected to Gmail?
Yes. If I go into, wait a minute, it has temporarily locked up on me. I'm going to end the task and start over again. My Thunderbird installation is not the greatest. I have a large amount of mail, and I think I'm at the point where it's stressing out on the fact that I have the amount of mail that I have. Basically, if I go into Tools and Account Settings, this is where you set up a new account. The very first time that you run Thunderbird on your computer, it's going to say, what's your first name, last name, and your email address. And you punch in your email account. If I say new mail account, this is what Thunderbird looks like when you start it for the very first time. And you just basically put in your Gmail address and your Gmail password and you hit continue. And it has a database out on the internet at Mozilla where they know about almost every email client server configuration that you could run into. So you don't have to know, in most cases, the particular IMAP server settings, whether it uses SSL or TLS or Start or OAuth, or you don't have to know any of that stuff most of the time. You just type in your Gmail email address and password, and it does the rest. And in here, it did put in the server settings, imap.gmail.com, and here's my Gmail address. So
I'm noticing it's saying authentication method OAuth.
Yes.
What can you say a word about that?
OAuth 2 is the way that Google uses authentication today. They no longer support normal or encrypted passwords. They require OAuth as a method of creating your account. If I don't have I don't have any Gmail accounts that aren't already in here. Otherwise, I would show you how to add one. But
you can add ours if you'd like. We have a kind of a public Google account called Saw Junkyard at at Gmail.
What is it?
Saw Junkyard at Gmail.
SAW Junkyard?
Yes, it stands for Solutions at Work Junkyard. That's how when it got founded.
Okay.
And the email address is sawjunkyard@gmail.com.
Drew, I think you misspelled yard in the first box.
This is just the full name. That doesn't really matter as much as
I understand. I'm just pointing it out in case it's helpful.
Yep. Sawjunkyard@gmail.com. And then a password.
When you type it, does it appear? Does it show?
No.
Okay, I'm going to put it in the chat for you. Hold on, please. Bear with me, folks. I'm getting this from KeyPass. Okay, just send it.
Yep, I see it. All right, and let's paste that in here and say continue. And it's looking up the configuration information. and it came back and it said that it found in Mozilla's database all of the incoming settings, and I hit the word done. And now is where I have to do the official Google authentication through OAuth. So this has opened up a web browser inside Thunderbird. Thunderbird has its own internal web interface. So it doesn't open a web browser in a separate window. It does it inside itself. And then you hit next. And then I'm
Oops.
going to put.
Do you still
I'm
have
just
it in your
gonna.
buffer? Okay. Yeah, okay.
Yep. And
I
then,
deleted it from the chat. Always a good idea.
Yep. So now it is asking for a verification code or a call.
Yes, you can send the verification code to 26. So I want to point out to everybody that this is a radical departure from the way mail has worked for 30 years. Until recently, the way you logged into a mail account was you'd use a username and password. That's changed for most mail providers. They use this OAuth method, which forces you to go to basically their website and authenticate the way you would if you were going to your own webmail. And it's called OAuth.
I haven't seen it yet.
You ready, Drew?
Yes.
Why is it safe for me to say this on the recording?
Well, because it's a one-time code.
Yeah, it's a one-time code. It's going to expire in 10 minutes. 950-658.
950
658. Yep.
Yeah, and then I'll hit next. And now it's saying Mozilla Thunderbird wants access.
Yep.
So I'm going to allow it. And that's it. It's all done. And now if I go back to where my inboxes are, it's in the process of here's Saw Junkyard right now.
This is our Saw Junkyard mail.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't really do a lot of mail on that in this account.
Yeah, this is email from 2023, 2024.
My point, but it's still downloading more stuff because we continue to
Yeah.
get junk mail and all kinds of stuff to this
Yeah,
account.
here's one from 8:02 a.m. today.
Yeah.
One of the things that's very nice is you have these columns that say subject and correspondent and date. And oh, by the way, Thunderbird indexes all of your mail. So when you need to search for an email that's a year old or 2 years old, it can find it in a very quick amount of time. But what's nice about this is it has all these different columns that you can add. One of them is size. And I use this to control my mailbox size. If you get a lot of attachments, you can sort your mailbox by size. And you'll see that there's a 2.9 megabyte file, changes to the Apple Pay and wallet that came in 2024. That's the biggest email message in here.
Yep. So we've got these email messages. Now, are they
down
stored?
here, I have local folders. I have all folders, and I've got one for each account. And this Saw Junkyard is now in my, here's all mail, here's the trash can, the auto replied mail, things that got marked as evil, 254. But this is
Did we do that? Is that a tag we put on?
That's part of Cora Digest. Yeah, it's in Saw Junkyard Mail.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
There's a folder called Evil. And so basically, if I were to disconnect from the Gmail account, I could read these offline, and I could reply when they're offline, and then next time I am online, it will send the messages.
So that's by default that these messages are downloaded in full?
Yes.
And where are they stored on the computer?
Inside my user profile under app data roaming Thunderbird.
And are they stored in open text? Could you go to that folder and see the mail there?
They're in a format called mail, in an mbox format. So is it clear text? No. Is it open source? Yes.
Yeah, they're not encrypted.
Um,
That's what you're asking.
yeah.
Again,
So
Martin.
like for example, I have a program
Oh,
called
hold on. I
Recall.
just wanted to hear what Martin said. Martin, what did you say?
They're not encrypted.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, subject to whether your hard drive is encrypted, but
Now, yeah. On my particular mail, some of it is encrypted and some of it's not because I do encrypt some of my mail. This here is a free program called Recall, Recoll, and it's a document indexing program, and it supports Thunderbird under the term message right here. If I type in the word junk, it will find all of the messages that have the word junk in them just as quickly as that. Some of which are from 2000. This one here is from 2010. I can search and find the most recent one is from 2026. I can preview it here, and it shows me a preview of the message, so I can see exactly what it was that or I can open it, and then this will open it in Thunderbird, or at least it should. Yep, there it is. So you can. This is a free program from recall.org. And it's compatible with Word documents, PDFs. It indexes even the file attachments inside Thunderbird. So if you receive a document like a Word file in an email 2 years ago, it'll find it just as quickly as it could find one from yesterday.
All right.
And basically,
so now we've got stuff and it's on our computer. So as long as we
right,
back up our computer, we backed up our mail.
right. It's underneath, like I said, app data roaming Thunderbird. And what a lot of people do, and this is a simple way to do it, is to just take that Thunderbird folder and zip it, and then copy that zip file onto your backup drive. Because let's say you get a new computer. What you can do is install Thunderbird, run it once so that it creates its empty folder structure, but don't configure any mail. And then you just paste that Thunderbird profile folder into your app data roaming folder, and all of your email, your contacts, your passwords, everything comes right back.
I didn't quite follow that. So you're saying we buy a new computer and then we download Thunderbird. And what's our next step?
Can I explain it? I think perhaps more succinctly.
Go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah. Your next step, Adam, is you launch Thunderbird and then just quit without creating anything. Launching Thunderbird creates a so-called profile folder, deep in the app data structure, with a generated new name for that folder that's different from on your old computer. So you launch Thunderbird and quit, and you basically have what's functionally an empty profile, but there's some, basic files created in that folder.
Okay.
Once you close Thunderbird, then you open up the profile folder from the old computer, which has a different generated name, and you open up the new profile folder that the current Thunderbird is set to use. You throw away everything in the new folder and drag over everything from the old folder. And then when you relaunch Thunderbird, it says, "Oh, yeah, I now understand. I now see your 7 different email accounts, your 200 local folders, your contact lists, etc." I used to try to do that by telling Thunderbird to use the old profile folder, and that was not easy to do. So
run us by us one more time. So you've got the empty framework. It creates a folder. Actually, Drew, could you show us the profile folder?
I'm showing it to you right now on my screen.
Where is it?
I am in DKing app data roaming Thunderbird.
Got it. Okay, and then there's your profile list.
Well, hang on a second.
Yes.
Where's the actual horrible name of the profile folder?
Yeah.
Under roaming is Thunderbird.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then here's the profiles folder.
Yes. And hang on. So which one of
There
those?
we are.
Which one of those is the current?
The
This
default.
one here.
Whoa.
Okay. So like I said, it's a generated name.
The one here that you look at, the one that I have
take,
highlighted with the red dot
yeah,
is my current profile.
and
Okay.
you take, and if you had just done this empty trick where it's basically an empty profile.
Well, it's not. It wouldn't have zero things in it.
No,
It would
I
have a
understand.
basic
It's not
structure.
completely
Yeah.
empty, but it doesn't have your stuff in it. Then you go and get your zipped up your profile from the other machine,
Right.
and then you copy everything in that profile into the new profile.
Well, yes, but you first throw away the initial vestige, just so you don't have any potential conflicts.
Wait, you throw away the empty
new
profile it created?
The new folder's contents. Think of it as it creates an empty database with an empty index and a bunch of other nominally empty but present.
And you just get rid of it. The
yeah,
one
just
with
throw away the
generated
entire
name.
contents.
Okay,
Yeah.
Martin, what I've done in the past is drag the old folder over and delete the new name, but write it down so I can rename the old folder as the new folder.
Yeah, that's
Right.
equivalent.
If you take the entire folder with the Thunderbird and wipe out everything, including the new profiles.ini, and you bring your old profile.ini with you, then it will already be pointing to the correct profile folder. That's what I typically do.
Yeah, I mean, your goal is not to try to teach Thunderbird the name of the old folder. Your goal is to slide the old data into the folder with the new name.
Yes.
But try not to mix them together because you never know what kooky stuff may happen. It's also a little tricky if the old Thunderbird is many, many versions back from the current Thunderbird that you download. That's maybe another minor thing. But I've learned not to try to teach Thunderbird the name of the old folder. That can get you to tearing your hair out. So Drew, did you show them the contents of the actual horribly named profile folder?
Yeah, here's the contents of the folder.
Yeah, now this is for a very active profile.
Yeah.
How many accounts do you have, Drew?
I have about 11 accounts.
Oh.
And I've got
182 items in that folder.
Yeah, and if I go to the very tippy top where I have my inbox, it'll in a moment tell you that I have my total across all my mailboxes, I have 127,753 messages.
Yeah, compared to some of my clients, you're a lightweight.
This for me is just over 20 years worth of mail.
Right, but you probably delete things you no longer want.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm referring to clients who are hoarders who almost never delete anything. Adam, can I just comment on the upside of using a program like Thunderbird over using the Gmail webmail?
Yeah, please.
So this is one of the craziest things about Gmail. Like I said, most people just use the website, and they may never really notice that no matter what area you're in, inbox, drafts, sent, there are no column titles. Messages are always sorted by date, newest first. You cannot change the choice of columns. You cannot sort by anything besides what it lets you do. You can search for whatever you want, but there is no sorting. And this has been a request for decades, and Google just ignores it. Their attitude back when they used to respond seemed to be, why should you sort when you can search? And my response is, when I want to clean out, let's say, my inbox or my sent, if I can sort by from or subject, I can be much more productive than just working purely chronological when my brain has to jump back and forth between 500 different conversations or people. And I shouldn't have to search for each person because I can't enumerate each person in my head.
Right.
Whereas when you go into Thunderbird or equivalent, you can sort by any of those columns. if you set it up as IMAP, not POP, your deletions take effect on the server and therefore propagate out to your other devices. And you can be very productive.
Thank you, Martin. I just want to pause for a moment to make sure everyone understands that. Can one of Kenneth, could you explain the difference between IMAP and POP? And could you tilt your camera down a little so we can see you when you're explaining?
Yeah, you said between IMAP and POP?
Yes.
I'm not too sure, honestly.
Can you call on someone and ask them?
Does anyone know? Or
Well, POP basically
Wait,
stands for
Drew.
post op.
Drew, I know you know. I want one of the students to answer.
Anyone under 30 may not ever heard of the word POP.
But it's like clockwise, right?
Let me ask David, do you know what POP is and what IMAP is? David Lau?
Doesn't IMAP download like a copy of all your emails to the remote to like the email server? But I'm not too sure what POP does.
You're totally on the right track there. So what IMAP does is it creates a mirror of the tree that's on your server. And it mirrors, and the thing that's confusing for a lot of people is that unlike what Drew is describing, many mail clients show you the tree and makes it look like the mail's on your computer, but it isn't. And if you suddenly lost the server, which can happen, you lose your mail. So IMAP has the advantage that you get to see all the different folders, and what you do propagates up to the server. But it's less satisfactory for knowing for sure you got all the mail. POP is the post office protocol. It's the old protocol. Drew is saying over 30. I don't know. But POP, basically all it does is fill your inbox. So when someone sends you an email, your computer goes up and retrieves the stuff that's in the inbox and brings it down to your computer. In that sense, it's much surer than IMAP because POP has to bring the mail down in order for it to appear. So from a backup standpoint, it's simpler and clearer.
The problem
However,
is all
there are
your
two
mail
big-
exists on that one server, that one PC.
Well, it's tricky. POP has many sub options. The way I explain it is it copies all of your inbox into your computer, but it doesn't do anything with any of the other folders on the server.
Yeah.
Also, if you delete something on the computer's inbox, nothing happens to the server's inbox. But POP also has the option to say, after I copy stuff down, either delete, as of a few days ago, or delete everything. So it's complicated as to how you set up POP and what's still on the server after you're done. But POP is really what I call the selfish protocol. If you have multiple computers, POP can drive you that are all checking your email with a client like this. POP can drive you crazy because computer A may have grabbed the messages from 10 o'clock, and then computer B may have grabbed all the messages from 11 o'clock, and both of them deleted everything from the server. So it can be crazy making if you have multiple devices. It's from an ancient time when people, why would you have more than one computer or more than one device?
Speaking of crazy making, Drew, I'm actually surprised that the default behavior of Thunderbird is to download all the mail. I thought the default was to download just headers for IMAP.
No.
Well, Drew, does it download every folder or only the one you're looking at?
It downloads the entire IMAP folder structure.
Okay. Yes,
all the mail.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, some email clients are what we call lazy loading. If you don't click on that particular folder, it doesn't download it.
Yeah.
Unless there's some overriding option.
Microsoft Outlook,
The
Office 365 is a lazy loader.
Okay. Oh, Adam, do you mind angling your camera down so we can see you?
If I go to,
thank you.
Oh, there you are.
I'm here. I was just standing to the left. There's a.
Well, Adam, can I just tell you another thing about a Thunderbird approach versus the Gmail website approach?
Yeah.
So on the Gmail is this bizarre combination of incredibly sophisticated and unbelievably primitive ideas at the same time. No sorting, no column headers, no column titles is the primitive side. But one of the very sophisticated items is on the website, you can assign what are called labels to each message. By default, stuff in your inbox is labeled inbox. Stuff in your sent folder is labeled sent. But if I were to create, for example, an Atom folder, and let's say a client collaboration folder, I can label any messages I want with some or all of my other labels. So one message could be carry four different labels, or any combination of the four you might think of. That's very sophisticated. And if you remove a label, the other ones are usually still there. However, no program like Outlook that I've ever seen specifically understands that. So what the Gmail server tells programs like Outlook is there are 4 different folders, and here's the messages in each one. So on the Outlook side, they're either called folders or mailboxes. If I have one message in, let's say, 2 labels on the server, Outlook will show 2 identical copies of that message in each of the so-called folders in its window.
Oh.
But they're not duplicated on the server. The Gmail server is very sophisticated. It only keeps 1 copy of an actual message. So in Outlook, if you delete, let's say, from the Atom folder, I think that removes that label, but it's still in the inbox. So that's about the best they could do, because to really understand labels is beyond what Outlook or Thunderbird or Apple Mail is up for. So that's very, very clever, but it can be very confusing.
Yes.
Also, if a message you can actually remove all labels from a message. It's still in the Gmail world, but it has no labels, which means it's in what's called the archive, which is visible as another folder. But it's only in the archive. It's nowhere else.
So this seems to be an important issue. If when we're backing up Gmail, for example, Drew, could you go to the actual Gmail account for Saw Junkyard, not the Thunderbird copy?
The website, yeah.
Oh,
the webmail.
Oh, go to a webmail page.
Yeah, for Saw Junkyard, because I want to understand this label thing. It seems very important. If you're making extensive use of labels, and the labels can't be downloaded, that seems like a real problem from a backup standpoint.
Well, it's not that they can't be labeled, but if you were to back up, if Drew had messages with multiple labels, they would probably be present in multiple inboxes in his Thunderbird arrangement.
I see. So what it will do is Thunderbird will create a folder
for each label.
For every single label.
Yeah, because the IMAP interface doesn't call anything labels. The IMAP interface says you got these folders with these messages, and that's what Thunderbird sees.
But it uses the Google label system to decide what's a folder.
No, the Gmail IMAP server reports each label as a folder.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not Thunderbird's choice. It's Gmail's interface out to IMAP.
Actually, you have to do that again. Yeah, I'll get it for you. And so so you'll end up with multiple copies of the mail.
Yeah, well, that's better than having no copies.
Yeah, I agree.
But yes, if you were reconstructing from a backup, you may well have an inflated. It's like they're duplicated on the Thunderbird side, which means that if you're ever restoring
654.
Wait a minute.
826-654.
Yeah, I mean, the upside is if you don't put multiple labels on any of your messages, then everything has a 1-to-1 correspondence.
So here are your folders. Here are what they call labels.
Yes.
Here's the one called evil.
Oh, okay, stop right there. So you can see that grayish, kind of like the second and third columns, Quora.com. Those little gray labels next to my husband, for example, that indicates that message has multiple labels on top of the evil label.
Correct.
So if you turn on the checkbox for that first message, to select it, okay, or open it. But the idea is if you
check it.
Yeah, if you now click on the label icon, which okay, maybe you have to click the three dots. Right, yeah, right there.
These three dots here?
Yes. Okay, then hover over label as, and there you go. Look at that. It's got 4 labels. Evil updates Quora Begon Quora.com.
Mm-hmm.
So that message, it will, as far as Thunderbird's concerned, be visible in 4 different folders or mailboxes.
Could you show us that, Drew? Could you go back to Thunderbird?
If you can just click to.
Yeah, if I go into Thunderbird, and I go down to
well, if you just search for husband, I think that might be easier than finding it.
Here are all of the different. Here's Quora Begon.
It's under evil, right?
Yeah. Go to evil.
So if we go to evil,
and the newest message.
By date, this is the newest message.
Right. So if you search, so just to be, it wouldn't be efficient. If you search for husband in the subject field, you'll probably find that same message in multiple Thunderbird mailboxes.
Oh, okay. So if I see, this is one thing. It's here. We're going to do this, Adam. I'm going to go into find, and then I'm going to say search messages, and in the subject, I want it to contain husband.
Yeah. Now that makes
and then I can say search, and it will come up with all of those messages.
Yeah. Could you sort by the results by? Oh, well, interesting. This only found one.
They're all listed as being an evil. They're not listed.
No. Okay, no, hang on. I'm just focusing.
Well, because I'm searching in the evil folder.
Oh, could you search the whole all of Gmail?
I can search all of Gmail.
Yeah, what we're curious about is whether
all of saw junk. Yeah.
Yeah, all of saw junk here. Because what we're curious about is that mail about the husband?
Well, you want to focus on
a bunch of different folders.
Okay. Well, you want to focus on where it says husband cried, because there's other messages that happen to also have husband.
Okay.
All right. Did the search is this? Oh, yeah, it's still running. I would then sort by subject, just to put all the husband cried or by date together.
So far, we don't have any results yet, though.
Well, it's still searching.
Search subfolders. Let me stop it and start it again.
Yeah. Turn. Also, you don't need to run the search on the server, right? You just want a local search.
That's what it defaulted to. I can turn that off.
Okay.
Adam.
Yes.
It is 8:30 now.
It is indeed.
Should we?
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
We're going to wrap up in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we kind of got diverted onto this Thunderbird and we never talked about Mailstore.
Okay.
Yes, we'll get to it next time. But it's very valuable. I think this is a part of this strategy of using Thunderbird.
So now, if you look at this column here, this shows you where it is.
Right,
these are in all mail. These are in evil.
Drew, could you just sort by date? Because when you sort by location, you lose the concept here.
Yeah.
So right there, sorry, if you could sort the other way, because you're showing the oldest first.
But it's working.
Right.
I can see that it's in all.
Okay, so right there. My husband cried. There's the 4 messages in the. Sorry, the first 3 are in 3 of those labels. So-called all mail is a kind of a catch-all. But okay, you can see 3 of the 4 I think we were looking for. Or maybe
they're all here. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and there's 4.
But notice that they're in different folders in Thunderbird.
Yeah, because Thunderbird has
what Martin is saying is that the label system in Google is reproduced by creating multiple copies of mail in the different folders.
Yes, in Thunderbird, you're going to really have 4 copies of the mail.
Yeah. Very interesting. I find this very helpful, very good introduction to Thunderbird, and a good hint about doing a quick backup of your stuff. Like you hook it up the way we just did using OAuth, connect to Google. Your stuff is then on your computer, and if you back up your Thunderbird profile, you've got your stuff. I'm concerned about the size for most people, as Martin was pointing out. Some people have 100,000 emails, and I'm curious about what the space situation is going to be for them when they download them.
Well, it's not going to consume any more space on your local computer than it does on the server. So
Well,
you have to be
Wait a
aware.
minute. Wait, Drew. That's contradicted by what we just did.
Well, let me rephrase that. In non-Gmail environments, it will
Okay.
match what's on the server.
Okay, good enough. Good enough. That's helpful. But in Gmail, which is kind of the 1.8 billion people, it actually raises interesting space questions. We're not going to solve them all tonight. We should wrap up.
Right, but not it may, I don't know what percentage of Gmail users put multiple labels on individual messages.
All of these are really good questions.
Yeah.
Well, all mail is a label that everything gets. Because it's what it is. It's all your mail.
Yeah.
As opposed to being in Quora Be Gone or Quora.com or.
Well, then you could at least say it's doubled, because if all mail has every message from every other label, then right there is twice your storage.
Yes. There's definitely more work to be done here in using this as a tool.
And for me, I have on my mailbox on Gmail, I'm limited to 15 gigabytes of storage space. So I don't have more than 15 gigabytes of mail on the server, but I probably have close to that on my PC because of the duplicates.
Yes.
Well, Adam, this also perhaps points out another potential backup strategy. I mean, number one, if your primary use is on the Gmail website, then you only get a PC-based backup when you open Thunderbird and let it catch up. If you're using like a Thunderbird or an Outlook every day, then it naturally comes to your computer. But if it's an occasional thing, you have to make a proactive choice to open your email program and let it download. But number two, in Thunderbird or Outlook or Mail or whatever, you can decide to click and drag chunks of messages over to local folders, removing them from the Gmail server. I'm
just going to ask us to pause here so we can wrap up. I would like to continue this discussion right here for next time.
One final thought, Adam, is this, and this applies to what we've just been talking about. In Thunderbird, you can configure the disk space that it uses. So it does by default keep messages in all folders on this account, but you can right here say that I want to synchronize only 30 days worth of mail or 100 days worth of mail.
Yeah. It really seems like some real thought and planning needs to go into this handling of the mail that Google handles apparently so effortlessly. So I think it's very valuable for us to recognize handling our own mail can actually be quite more difficult, but maybe very worthwhile as well for all kinds of reasons. I want to thank everyone for coming. It's great to see you all. And I would like to continue this discussion. I think it's really productive. I want to learn about Mailstore and continue this discussion about email next time. I hope people have a wonderful month, and looking forward to seeing everyone next month.
Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks, Adam.
Thanks everyone. Take good care. Good night.
Oh, thanks, Drew.
Bye-bye.